semi-truck drivers that they need to stay in the right-hand side of the road.
The complaint, trucks often back up traffic in the left lane.
Camp in the mountains, not in the left lane.
Some states have stricter laws, like in Indiana, where on a 3-lane highway, trucks are only allowed in the 2 right lanes.
Today, we're going to be talking about trucking accidents. More specifically, we're going to be talking about trucking accidents caused by improper lane changes. Sometimes, truckers change lanes into a car, and that car has nowhere to go. As a result, the car is pushed off the road or into a guardrail or a ditch.
Other times, the trucker may crush the vehicle into a concrete median. As you can imagine, these types of accidents can end in tragedy.
Your perspective may be that I'm blessed to have been protected, having survived the most deadly minute of my life. In my perspective, on July 20th, 2024, approximately 1:31 a.m., life as I knew it 3 minutes ago was at the least indefinitely over. After managing to open the passenger door for ventilation, along with the fresh air, I was hit with the third blow to confirm my life was taken. The lawless, left lane camping 18-wheeler with no signal swiped me, getting over into my lane as I attempted to pass, sending me across the front of the cab, almost crushing me, and then accelerating me head on into the median wall is nowhere to be seen. And apparently on paper, it's nobody's fault. For a second, I wished I didn't make it. I wanted to get out of the car, but my leg hurt so much. The OnStar agent scared me from falling deeper into integrating all dimensions of this devastating event. I was glad to have someone there, to be honest. I went over the details. Her reaction?
You are so lucky!
But my car, I only had it for a month. She let me know the authorities were on the way.
Were there any damages to the truck that you can see?
What truck? I'm the only one out here.
He left you there?
I felt the lump in my throat, voice shaking. He kept going. He didn't even stop. We looked at each other when I was in front of the cab. He may not have seen me initially, but he did when I passed in front of the cab. And I know in his rear view, he saw the consequences of his actions. Our conversation continued as my mind was stuck on the phrase, the consequences of his actions. He's getting away with taking away my income, as well as my car I sacrificed 2 months looking for, and haggling the price down low enough to get the okay from my credit union to finance in an overinflated used car market. The emotions swirled and settled deeper. Relief, anger, fear of the unknown, blessed, astonishment, confusion, guilt, loss, and abandonment. Through OnStar's positive reinforcement, I could hear sirens. So I continued with my emotional inventory. Worthlessness and embarrassment settled in. I've never been in an accident in my 33 years of driving. I could hear cars passing. Self-consciousness began as I reviewed my thoughts whenever on the highway seeing single-car accidents, especially on weekends. I would be thinking, that idiot was out drinking and driving, racing, or showing out. Overall, carelessly believing that single car caused what happened to them. Did the people in these cars I hear passing me right now think the same about me? How could the driver just continue on after seeing what he did? He doesn't even know if I survived. I had a vision of him looking in his rearview mirror at me, afraid but consumed with self-preservation, opting not to know about my well-being, determined to maintain his livelihood despite possibly ending me. The bombardment of emotions sent me into a brief state of shock, along with the pain of my right knee. Suddenly, I couldn't get comfortable. I was marching in my seat. I needed to do something. I needed to run. I needed to, my legs needed to be better. I couldn't get comfortable. I had a ice pack in my cooler that I usually have my hydration in. So I grabbed that and put it on my knee and began doing breathing exercises to soothe my anxiety. Officers arrived. First one was able to open my door, and I described to 3 officers what happened. One asked how I ended up facing oncoming traffic. As I'm explaining how I turned my wheel and slammed on the brakes to avoid head-on collision, I could tell one of them was confused about my explanation. As paramedics arrived, there was a moment all cops gathered to discuss their assessment, and they all agreed my story matched the explanation as they looked at my side of the car. What did they see? Paramedics asked me how I felt. Head hurt, Anything? Back? I told them about my legs. A paramedic grabbed my leg after I showed him where it hurt, then asked if I think I can try to stand. I did. Then he asked if I could walk. I could. Immediately I refused the ambulance. I wasn't too shook to remember we're under Bidenomics, and I'm not taking an ambulance ride in order to keep my insurance affordable. I refused personal injury, and at that point, I regretted it, but with what money could I afford it? The paramedics and police remarked about how great it was that I survived. At this point of having to leave my car wrecked like that, I didn't feel so lucky. I asked the officers if this happened often, that they find cars wrecked like this on the side of the roads, and they said yes, and usually there are no survivors, much less ones that could actually get up and walk away from the wreck. It was at this moment I had the opportunity to turn around and observe the damage done. The tire marks being so high was an obvious giveaway of what hit me. At this point, one of the officers mentioned that there was a Mercedes dealership across the street. Maybe they have cameras aimed, and maybe they recorded it. There was also a Volkswagen dealership. In holding on to the little hope that I had left of catching this bastard, I added that 2 stops down, there are truck stops on either side of the highway. If I were scared after hitting someone and doing what they did to me, and knowing that I'm in a company truck, I would go to one of those truck stops to check and assess the damages. But then reality set in, and I realized that I'm not on some TV drama. This is real life. Cops don't do that kind of shit. I would have to do it. If anyone were to find this motherfucker, it would have to be me.